2025 in general is looking like the best year since 2021. Now, 2021, I probably don't need to tell you, is the year that is just absurdly high in terms of public market issuings. And so we don't think that it's going to exceed that, but that goes to show where we are. And it obviously hasn't been a straight line this year, given all the volatility.
What do we think, I get you out here on this, what do we think the pace of IPOs looks like from here?
Yeah, so this week has been a little bit of a fluke, and a part of that might have to do with the volatility earlier in the spring that we saw. So the kind of the pace that I'm hearing from IPO watchers is about 3 to 5 large deals, large like non-SPAC traditional IPO issuances per week, going through the end of November, maybe even into early December. Now, like the big thing that we don't know about, and we really don't know about this at this point, is that the Trump administration has talked about trying to IPO the mortgage giants, Fannie and Freddie. So we'll have to pay attention to that. Obviously, that would completely throw off what the count of what IPOs are for the year. Right. But you know, so it's not going to be normally like this week.
The IPO market is showing some signs of improvement, with names like CoreWeave, Klarna, StubHub, and eToro all filing to go public in recent weeks. Joining me now with the outlook for the IPO market, Atish Davda, EquityZen's CEO. EquityZen does allow individuals to invest in private markets before companies do go public. So before we get into that, I just want to talk to you, Atish, about how you are seeing the market right now. A lot of euphoria coming into this year about this being a big exit year, and now the word of the year appears to be uncertainty. What will it take for this to continue to be a big exit year?
Well, thanks for having me. Look, IPOs dislike volatility. And if there's one thing that we've seen in the last 5 to 6 weeks, is just a tremendous amount of volatility in the public markets. I think what it's going to take is a bit more clarity. This is exactly what all the management of large companies and small companies alike are asking for. And I think the administration is going to deliver that. They've been clear about how this is going to be a temporary blip that they want. But I think that's what it's going to take for the IPO market to really bounce back.
So Atish, you think it's going to be then a second half of the year kind of story? Because I think the first, another couple of weeks, 6 weeks or so, I think there's going to be continued volatility. I don't think we're going to get clarity until we hit the summertime and we see how these tariffs have played out, what they've played out, what kind of is happening around the globe in the global economy. So I think, to your point, I think the IPO market, if it's going to heat up this year, it's going to be the second half of the year.
I agree with you completely. Look, over the last 2 years, really last year, a lot of folks have been saying H2, second half of the year, that's when the activity is going to pick up. I actually do think this time is different. I believe that the enthusiasm with which the markets, came roaring out of the gates at the beginning of the year, that's still there. There's still a lot of pressure to want to, go public. But I agree with you. I think it's going to probably take a little bit of slowing down, see how some of the dust settles with the, with the current policies. And I'm excited for what the second half is going to bring.
Yeah, and Atish, I want to talk to you about some news that both of our companies have today. Yahoo Finance teaming up with EquityZen, as you know, and Forge Global to launch a private markets hub. You can find all of the private market and private individual company data on your Yahoo Finance platform, as you can see on your screens there. Some of the biggest private companies in the world, obviously, at the top due to their valuations. You've got SpaceX, OpenAI, for example. Talk to me, Atish, about the interest that investors have right now in private companies and how that makes a partnership like this make sense for investors who are getting a little bit more interested in these private companies.
Absolutely. Super excited about the partnership. Look, EquityZen's been serving private investments to qualified investors for 12, almost 13 years at this point. And our core mission is to bring private markets to the public. One of the key reasons why we're extremely excited about this partnership with Yahoo Finance is it allows us to move that much closer to our mission. Yahoo Finance is synonymous with the excited, enthusiastic, engaged individual investor, and EquityZen is proud to offer the industry's lowest $5,000 minimums. Whether we like to say whether you're investing $5,000 or $5 million into private markets, EquityZen can help support that. One of the key things I want to highlight here as far as this partnership goes is if Without access to private companies, most people are limited to investing only in public companies. There's nothing wrong with that, but there's fewer companies that are public than before. We've had a tremendous amount of concentration risk. And the third thing is, if you want to invest in the latest trends, like AI as an example, we're seeing tremendous amount of interest in AI investing. Well, you're not really getting that in public companies, right? Even if you invest in Nvidia, Microsoft, you name it, it's just a fraction of their actual business.
Right.
If you want to invest in AI companies, as an example, you have to turn to private markets, which is a big reason why EquityZen is proud to enter into this partnership with Yahoo Finance. If you want to invest in innovation, you have to go to where the companies are. It's when they're young, they're nascent, they're being proven out. By the time they hit the public markets, a lot of the valuation gains have already, come in, and it's something that we certainly are trying to increase access to for the qualified investor.
Here in the U.S., or I guess even just globally, is the major obstacle to the IPO market really opening back up in a more dramatic fashion? Is it that tariff uncertainty?
I would say uncertainty is the theme generally, whether you're talking relative to tariffs, whether you're talking about policy here in the U.S., even immigration policy and what that's and the impacts to the labor force, broader geopolitical instability, just broader uncertainty continues to be the theme, impacting not only in the U.S. but around the globe. So something that everyone is continuing to monitor, but when we look at how the first half ended, particularly the month of June, very, very optimistic. We had great deals here in the U.S. in June, fueling optimism into Q3 and the back half of 2025.
Something sort of bigger picture I want to ask you, maybe it's more of a philosophical question, which is, why do